What did you know about crypto before this film? Was it on your radar at all?
Yeah, I owned it. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
I bought it big. I bought Bitcoin in 2021.
nice, nice. So when OKX pitched you this project, you were like, "Yeah, this is a mission that I can get behind." So
Yeah,
is that what made you say yes?
exactly. I had it. Did I? Would I? Was I an expert in it? Of course not. But I thought I like to try things that are new. Something that's new. You never know. Sometimes it hits good. Sometimes it doesn't. But I'm willing to take a chance. So that's how I am. I've always been that way.
And that's exactly why I was very interested in taking this call because for your Bronx Tale story, there's this
Oh,
there's this legend, right, of like turning down $1 million with $200 in the bank.
yes.
And a lot of young people in crypto, they did something similar. They bet everything on this idea that was completely dismissed by the establishment. Do you kind of see the parallel there?
Oh, absolutely. I always, I always said when the establishment doesn't like what you have, you definitely have something good. I've always believed in that. If they say things like, "Oh, this is really out of the box," "I don't think this is going to work," that means something big is going to happen. Usually, not all the time, but usually. You know.
Yeah, and that kind of worked out in crypto. Like when I started following the space, it was very much this pirates and cowboys land.
Right.
But the film, however, it celebrates crypto becoming a little bit milder, a little bit safer, a little bit more regulated. But again, as you mentioned, like your career was built on not playing it safe.
Yes.
So how do you reconcile these two ideas?
Well, I think just like the guys who started crypto was obviously they had to invest money. They could have lost a lot of money when they first started this, but life is about taking chances. And when I did, and you see, the great thing about when I did A Bronx Tale was you could tell somebody to live their life a certain way, but if you just say it to them or you say it in a sermon or in a speech, they understand it, but it doesn't hit home. But when you tell it in a story with characters and feeling, and it moves you, and you say to yourself, "Hey, I'm like him. I'm like that guy." It resonates more as opposed to just giving a speech. So I think the brilliance in Hyder is that he said, "Let's make a movie about crypto and not just a commercial." And when he first said it to me, I wasn't sure, but then I realized what he was saying. And I said, "Yeah, that's the way to tell people is a story." They can understand that. They can go back and say, "Remember when this character did this and this character did that. Remember in the first act when they saw the town like this and then the town changed." That stays with you as opposed to just somebody just giving you a speech. You walk out the door and you forgot about it already. You know. But when you see great movies or great stories, a book, it stays with you much longer than a speech does, or just somebody trying to educate you.
One of the themes of this film and other films you've worked is you have this choice. You have to choose between the sort of honest path and the potentially more dangerous one.
Yes.
Do you see how young people in crypto have to kind of make the same choice today?
Oh, without a doubt. See, the thing about crypto, uh, and I was talking to Hyder about it, was the thing that scares people about crypto is what? What I could tell you. It's like, what is it? I don't have it in my hand. I can have dollars in my hand.
Yeah.
I could have pounds. I could have euros. I could have gold. I could have silver. I can't have a Bitcoin in my hand.
Yeah.
And as human beings, we don't trust people. You know,
Yeah.
look, has there been fraud in Bitcoin? Yeah, there has been. You saw that guy, what he was doing, and
Yeah.
thank God he went to jail. I forgot his name.
Sam
But
Bankman-Fried.
yes, but what what OKX is trying to show is that, hey, uh, is there people out there that are not good? Yes, but we're not one of them, and we're going to show you why. They put all these safety things, and you have the keys to your own wallet. I mean, many, many things. But look, crypto is the way of the world now. I think soon I could buy a house by just telling another person, hey, man, let's do this deal. And we could do it on crypto. I could buy
Yeah.
his house on crypto. The banks and these big firms don't want that because why? It takes away them, takes away the lawyers, it takes away uh, all these fees they have. It's just like, you have X, I want X. Here's the money for X, give me X. That's great. That's great. But people in life, they don't want to, if it means money, they'll say it's bad, it's no good. You know, when the big firms, when the big firms started saying things like, "Nah, we don't handle crypto, we don't allow that." Oh, that's when I knew. I said,
Yeah.
oh boy," you know.
But that has kind of changed a lot in the
Yes,
last 12 months, right? And
yes,
I feel like a lot of early crypto believers are increasingly disillusioned now that all these big institutions have arrived. Crypto people, they built up something, it became successful, but in a way, it doesn't feel like it's theirs
yeah.
anymore. Like does that resonate with your experience with success? Potentially changing the thing that you grew to love to begin with.
Uh, Again, I'm different. I'm like, I take chances, man. I'm one of those. I believe in, I'll buy a watch knowing that it's going to be worth something years from now. I'll buy a painting that I think could be worth something years from now.
Mm.
I'll even buy a gun that's could be worth something. And I have a few that really are worth something. Some, I missed. They're still okay, but it's not worth what I thought it could be. But that's who I am. And what was the question? The question again?
So for a lot of people in crypto, like the same way that when the Wild West was over, right? The
Yeah.
cowboys, there were some of them that were upset that the old ways were no longer existing,
Oh,
and that's part of the theme as well. And I feel like one of the big topics in crypto right now is this disillusionment of people who have been part of the crypto movement for a long time, and now it's become institutional, and they feel like, well, it's not really us anymore. Like it doesn't belong to us
no,
anymore.
but I understand that. But you have to go along with that because that's the way it is. Also, uh, what they're worried about is if all of a sudden the big institutions start making laws to put it towards them. In other
Yeah.
words, they start changing the way crypto was originally meant out to be and changing it their way. I mean that is always a possibility, so we'll see. You know.
You've mentioned a few times that you're someone that has always been happy to take on risks to see if
Yeah.
something comes out of it. If you could talk to a 25-year-old kid today who's considering betting everything on a risky idea, doesn't have to be crypto, could be acting or anything else, what would you tell them?
Well, I would say buy crypto. I would absolutely say that to him. Don't. I would say invest maybe 5% of your portfolio, 10% of your portfolio. Buy it, hold it, and no matter what, do not sell it. No matter what, and see what happens. I think in the end you're going to be okay. I would tell them that. I would tell them to definitely put a lot of money into the S&P 500. A lot of ETFs, and just hold on to it. Just relax. Everybody wants to make money like right away, and I
Yeah.
understand that. And a lot of people did make money right away with crypto, with Bitcoin. But that that happens once every. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah, I think. I mean, when I bought crypto, I was there in 2017. Like you
Oh,
tend to buy when it's in the news, and then it just goes down, and then there's this struggle of not only are you losing money, but everyone in the news is telling you you're an idiot. Why did you buy this? This was a scam,
yes, yes.
and you have this years long struggle of like holding on to an idea, a vision that you had. Is there something valuable in this struggle of like persevering?
Yeah, but I mean, you got to be smart too. I mean, if you bought crypto in 2017, I don't know what it was back then. It probably was what, a couple
So I,
thousand.
I bought like Bitcoin was like went up to like 18 or so, and then like immediately dropped tremendously.
Yes,
Like
but if you held it, when it went up to like over $100,000, I would look. I always like to hold on something. It makes a lot of money. I always like to take money off the table. I take some off the table. I don't get crazy, and then I leave more in. Or I'll take some off the table again and I'll leave more in. And then here, when I think I took enough off the table where I can't, like, I'm playing with house money now. I let it
yeah,
ride. I let it ride. I let it go.
right.
I let it
Okay.
go.
Excellent. All right, one last question. What is the main thing that you want people to take away from this film?
The main thing is the story, is really the story. It's like OKX is different than a lot of other firms. No, am I saying that other firms are not trustworthy? Of course not. I'm not saying that. But OKX does the right thing. They do it right. Because, look, you never make a deal. When I sign a contract, anybody, you could sign a contract with a horrible person. If the contract is a good contract, even though it's a good contract, they're going to screw you anyway. You always make a deal with the people behind what they're saying. I met all the people. I got to know Hyder very well, and they're stand-up people. They're smart and stand up, and they're in it for the long haul. And that's the key: is the long haul. They want people to go there. They put all these incredible safeguards in place where you control everything, and I just think it's and I want people to come out of this saying, if I'm going to go into Bitcoin, I'm going with OKX, and I feel like that's my best shot. Look, nobody could say if Bitcoin or crypto is going to go up or go down, but all you want is your money to be safe. That's all.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
and the film shows crypto in the beginning was the wild, wild west, but now it's the mile, mile west, and it shows that. And the great thing, what Hyder did is he hired, I mean, not to sound, but he hired established actors like myself and writers like myself and Vincent Cassell, and he put
yeah.
his money where his mouth is. He spent good money and hired a wonderful director. So, and and made a really great film about the safeguards of crypto, and I think it comes across that way.
Absolutely. Chazz, thank you very much for your time. I'm going to